Hello everybody. So I wanted to provide a quick commentary on volatility being back. Big moves today, and I anticipate big moves tonight with Tesla and Google. I'll be watching closely Tesla, of course, but no need to wait for 3 p.m., 4 p.m. if you're in East Coast. So today we have a few big moves. Mara. So the market has gone completely nuts. I regard Mara's news today of a convertible note to be an absolutely wonderful news. I watched this interview on some macro podcast from yesterday. It's very clear that the convertible note is going to be to buy Bitcoin, in my opinion. In fact, when you read the prospectus, you can see the rest of the funds will be used to buy more Bitcoin, and then general operations, and then expand infrastructure, and then strategic acquisitions. First word is Bitcoin. We have a history of them using converts to buy Bitcoin. I think they are going to buy Bitcoin with the convert as an option for 850 million plus 150 million. So that's going to be likely a billion or close to $1 billion convert. And this news sent the stock plummeting a ridiculous nearly 14%. The stock is now trading exactly roughly at a 1 times MNAV. It's ridiculous. You get the energy assets for free. You get all of the miners for free. They have over 50 exahash of mining power. Remember, those miners may be old, but the transformers retain their value over time. There's an access to next to zero or cheap or nearly free electricity retains its value. To me, this is entirely ridiculous. The market is just dumping on Mara. Yeah, sure, Bitcoiners are a little upset at the CEO because the CEO sometimes, like he did inscriptions on the blockchain, and so you have Bitcoiners who are purists who are saying we shouldn't do inscriptions on the blockchain. That was one aspect of that. Some people dislike Mara's management. I think they're fine. I think they're just fine. And I praise them for actually hodling the Bitcoin. They're hodling 50,000 Bitcoin. They have a strong belief in holding Bitcoin. And this convertible note that they're issuing is going to be helping them buying much more Bitcoin in addition to paying off, repurchasing a convert that was going to be due in 2026. So convert, think about that. 2032 is when that convert matures. So that's a big deal. And what's going to be the price at maturity, right? That it will convert. This will convert to equity. So this is dilution in nearly 7 years. This is dilution in 7 years. Get the money today, dilute in 7 years at today's price. So they're going to dilute at today's price. Well, at the price when the notes actually get quoted. And so the way to look at this move, how do you calculate the gain that they made on this move? This is They can't do an ATM, right? Mara cannot do an ATM because they're trading at a 1x. So it's not accretive for them to do an ATM. But it's accretive for them to do a convertible note because they're essentially collecting the premium for a call option in 2032. They're selling a 2032 call option, and they're essentially collecting that premium, and the premium comes not in the form of money. The premiums comes in the form of 0% interest. It comes in the form of the fact that we are not paying interest. So if you assume that for the next 7 years, interest rates for a company like Mara would have been 7% in a normal market, which I think it's about fair because rates are going to drop. Right now it would be higher. In the future it would be lower. So you do $1 billion, that's what we're going to borrow, for 7 years at 7%. That's a saving of $490 million in interest that they potentially don't have to pay over the length of the convertible note. So to me, this is a winning day for Mara. This is not a losing day for Mara. I am very happy to see that convert. They are believers in Bitcoin. They will be buying more Bitcoin, and I love it very much. Now, moving on to HIMS. HIMS is the most here we go again stock. In a prior video, as you know, I've called it like a punching bag type stock because this is entirely ridiculous. Nobody really knows why the stock is up so much today. But the point is, you may remember that news a month ago, roughly, exactly a month ago. Novo Nordisk terminates collaboration, and then people are saying the thesis is broken. Now Novo is going to sue HIMS, and it's the end of the world for HIMS. And then what do we find out? We find out that Novo did not renew their patent in Canada Canada. So the next day, HIMS announces, well, we're going to go in Canada and we're going to go sell compound, not compounded, but generic semi in Canada. The stock went a little bit better. We were happier. And today, this is a party. Plus 15%. What is going on? The only way I can explain today's action is a short squeeze. That's I think the logical explanation, because HIMS is still one of the most heavily shorted stocks. And you can see, unfortunately, I don't have the recent data, but you can see the last data was showing 37% of the float being shorted. So this is quite outstanding how many people are betting against HIMS and hers, and so some people are covering right now. That's my take on it. That's what I think is going on. Maybe something leaked about the current success, maybe something leaked about their earnings, and the hedge fund is like, okay, I can't own this into earnings, and bidding up the price and buying it back. Maybe it's something else. I don't know what it is. Either way, I'm very happy to see that. But to me, this is a very long-term hold. HIMS is a very long-term hold. And of course, how many plus 30%, minus 30%, plus 30% over a period of, 10 days, less than 10 days often. How many more are we going to have to go through with this stock? Well, probably a lot, because this is an extremely volatile stock. This is the nature of HIMS. So on earnings, it may pop even more or it may go down. And, that's just the nature of investing in HIMS. You have to be strapped for the HIMS roller coaster, because this company is very much misunderstood. It is disrupting healthcare. It's creating a new form of healthcare, an out-of-pocket cash pay form of healthcare, and using technology to make it cheaper than healthcare that you get access to via your insurance, cheaper than copays. Most people still don't get that vision. Half of Wall Street sees it as a ED drug company, or now I guess as a weight loss company, and they keep being dismissed. I have never dismissed HIMS on this channel. I am very bullish, by the way. $57 right now. That's a 10x from my first buy of HIMS. A 15x from the people who were buying HIMS in the $3 range, if you remember those good old days more than 2 years ago. And the last stock is Enphase. Enphase was a former channel favorite. I sold Enphase in late December of 2024 because it was the one stock that had dropped the most, and I needed the tax loss. I needed the loss. So that's why I sold Enphase. I would still own Enphase if I hadn't needed that loss to, lower the tax bill. But anyways, I guess I'm thankful to the tax man, because I dodged the bullet, because it dropped another 50% from when I sold it in December. It dropped another 50%. So this is, there's this old quote: "Don't fight the Fed." This stock could be summarized as don't fight poachers. I guess it would be this stock summarization. The tariffs are not helping. Tariffs on solar, tariffs on batteries. So this whole tension is going on, and of course solar is going to be hit pretty hard with the tariffs, because all this stuff is made in China, and China has the highest tariffs, right? So it's not threats anymore. I mean, they've materialized on China. So, of course, because of the tariffs, Badri on the call is saying that, home solar is going to shrink another 20% next year, and the subsidies are gone. So it may shrink actually even more than that. Europe is still the bright spot, although they called it soft. And from what I see, it's like between 5 and 10% revenue growth. So it's sad to see that 5 and 10% revenue growth is a bright spot for Enphase. This is a stock that used to be growing at 50% a year. We are in the bear market for solar. Bankruptcies will happen. I don't think Enphase will be a stock that goes through bankruptcy, because if you look at their management of the income statement, they are doing a fairly good job. I like what I see. You can see R&D expenses are going down ever so slightly. They're still investing in the future. Okay, that's fine. I mean, they're under control. Expenses are under control. So I like to see that. Some people may say, well, you got to stop R&D, cut R&D. Well, you could say that, but then again, when you're losing all hope of growth, and so why own the stock? I think given the fact that their revenue was $363 million this quarter, if you're saying 20% over next year, and if the decline is evenly distributed across the next 4 quarters, for example, I think they will manage. They could have an operating income go to, I don't know, 5 million, 2 million, something like that. But the EBITDA is still positive. I didn't show it because it's too long for this sheet here. But the cash flow on the back end is still okay. I think this is a company, and they have some cash too. So I think this is a company that will navigate just fine. The question, of course, is how are they doing against the Powerwall? We'll find out more tonight because we have the Tesla call, so we'll find out more because Enphase is now directly competing head to head with Tesla, and Tesla really doesn't need to make a profit on solar. That's kind of the issue, and the fact that the Tesla Powerwall 3 throws in this hybrid of a microinverter and a string inverter kind of put together. They got like a middle solution, right in the middle, like a kind of a hybrid with 6 strings in a Powerwall. So now you get the benefits of both the string inverter, i.e. cheap, and the microinverter. You get less of the upside, but you still get much of the upside. It's a very compelling product, I think. From a marketing standpoint, I still think Enphase microinverter solution is the more logical solution. I still think that, especially with gallium nitride coming up. But if there's going to be no demand, what good does it do that you're going to have a great IQ10 with a great power electronics on board, So this is a stock that if I were to get back into this stock, I would do it through leaps. And unfortunately, the only leaps that I would consider here would be January 28 or December 2027, because that would be, next to the next, at least presidential cycle. And maybe we have, at least from a stock market standpoint, we have the hope of a pro-solar candidate in 2028. And so that's the only way I would consider. So to me, I would get back in maybe in a year and a half. That way I really get the end of 2028 leaps and get back in. And so this stock has entered a valley of despair. Is 36 the bottom? I don't know. I'm not a technical analyst, but it was even lower, a month ago. It was 34, so 34, 36. Maybe the low 30s is the bottom. I really don't know. It's too early for me to get back into this one. It is a sad story, but it is lesson learned. When revenue depends on government giveth and government taketh when government changeth, if that makes some sense. And so that's why HIMS is so powerful, for example, because HIMS is all cash pay subscription. You don't have to worry about insurance. It's just people paying out of pocket for a product. It's your classic capitalist transaction of a customer and a company happily exchanging money for a good. And so unfortunately, when you have subsidies with solar, you're not exactly in that pure free market. And so this was not financial advice. This is not investment advice. This is only entertainment. I'm hoping you were entertained. Please like, please subscribe. Follow me on Patreon. Follow me on X. Thank you for watching and have a wonderful, wonderful day.